Hey everybody, welcome to today's webinar, 3 Innovative Ways to Offer Career and College Courses to Students and Job Seekers. Before we get started, I want to review a few housekeeping items. First is throughout the presentation, we encourage you to type questions or comments using the chat panel in the bottom right corner of the GoToWebinar player. We'll leave about 10 to 15 minutes at the end of the presentation for the Q&A anyways, so if you have any questions, please make sure to type them in to the chat box, and we're going to get to as many of them as we can. We also will ask that you take a short survey at the end of the webinar. This is going to allow us to provide you with the most relevant and useful content in the future. And additionally, and probably most importantly, we're going to be sharing a recording of the copy, or a copy of the webinar, along with the slides in the coming days. So keep an eye out for that. You'll be able to share that with colleagues who weren't able to make it today. My name is Daniel Dolph. I'm a marketing specialist here at Penn Foster. Joining me is Eric Hensley. He's the managing director at Penn Foster of Workforce and Government. And he's excited to share with you these 3 approaches to offering career and college courses to students and job seekers. And with that, I'm going to let Eric take it from here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining. We're excited to be able to take this phase 2 from the NJCA discussion and dive a little deeper into the context of the discussion on innovation. We owe a policy in regards to post-secondary vocational training, and we'll be discussing that in great depth today. And then, as Dan mentioned, for questions we don't get, we'll also have one-on-one sessions with each of you upon request. So feel free and send out some requests. We'll be following up with the recorded series, as Dan mentioned. But let's dive into today's agenda. Overall, we're just going to give high-level recap from where we left off with the NJCA series in regards to the challenge, the opportunity, and implementing this at your location in specific to your partnership and your resources and tools, but discussing the 3 innovative use cases that these are currently in practice upon many other scenarios and partnerships that we currently have. And then the first one we're going to dive into is our mission, just again to set the tone and provide that substance. And the beauty of all this is we align perfectly with our goals based on our partnerships. We share the same goals. So our mission in general, as you see, is to empower youth and adult learners with knowledge, skill, and confidence to improve their employability and workplace effectiveness. Our goal as educators and as collaborators or partners is to drive outcomes, positive outcomes for our students, leveraging tools, resources, everything at our disposal, of course, to make that as successful as possible. So again, we're looking forward to the discussion, and we'll start diving deep now. So overall, Penn Foster has been around for 125 years, and we're a leading skills organization for youth and adults. We've had such a rich history and various different collaboration models that it's very unique to provide these resources and tools specific to our partners in various different cases or in different modalities to reach your goals. So over that course of 125 years, we've been through a lot and had many different changes with the technology advancements, but the goal has always been the same, to empower adults and youth and provide them tangible skills to reach their potential, whether it be while pursuing a high school diploma, career skills, or gaining employment or a degree. But we graduate more than 44,000 students a year across our different schools, so that encompasses the high school, the career school, and our college. And then we partner specifically with over 100 job corps, as well as 30 youth builds and various different other opportunity youth entities, career colleges, corporations, training their employees and their workforce to obtain these competencies, to really provide that outlet or credentialing to reshape and advance them within their career or within their academic pursuits. But overall, with the changing landscape in education, but also the workforce, there's always challenges, always hurdles and obstacles and barriers that we have to overcome, and any other synonym you want to put out there specific to that. But we're always thinking of how to raise the bar, how to collaborate better with our partners so you have access to reaching these resources or goals or outcomes, and providing pretty much limitless opportunities for our partners, but also more importantly for your students to reach those goals. And basically what it comes down to is high school is no longer enough. A GED is no longer enough. There's different standards for employment now, as we discussed in our first series, with the job opportunities, the skills gap, baby boomers going into retirement, the new generations coming up, these different challenges, again, that are being faced for, domestically and abroad, of course. It's a competitive workplace. So having these skills, these benefits, these tools, and being able to leverage resources from partners or from your network are going to play a vital role. And the benefit is many of you already have these forms of academics or vocational or post-secondary options in play now, as well as high school diplomas or equivalencies. And now it's how do we increase the rigor and relevance for our students? How do we provide them with portable skills and the tools to be successful? And how do you think of that, of what you currently do today, and where we could add on or fill gaps, or just think in general about how do we adopt new pieces to really position our students and our graduates as very employable, very marketable, and having these skills that employers want. So those are the things we're going to discuss today, and those results that many of you are seeing as a partner, but what to think about, whether it be with Penn Foster, or a local community college, or your current network of providers, or if you're not a current provider or partner with Penn Foster, how these things could be implemented across the stream on a broader level. But as I mentioned, today's labor market demands are increasing. So post-secondary education is at that highest point, specifically in Job Corps. When you service about 33 to 40 to 60,000 students a year, only 10% on average of those students go on to college. How do we increase that number? How do we be able to leverage resources and tools that partners such as a Penn Foster would offer? If you're a local workforce partner or youth build, same dynamic. How do you increase your offerings to really align to having not a one-size-fits-all model, but a deconstructed approach to being able to fill gaps and really be able to offer solutions, not as an end-all, but as an alternative, looking at different alternatives for your tool bag to be able to dive into and really customize it and control these types of resources or academic offerings where they're more of your own offering, where you bring it into the audience, into the onto your location, and deliver it in a format that makes the most sense to your student base, your geography, so you can get the outcomes you need. Basically having your own high school, your own career school and college at your disposal, and have that uniqueness of what it means to be, a workforce board or a Job Corps or a youth build to reach your specific program goals, but really shape your students' lives. So most all newly created jobs, again, are going to demand post-secondary education, an associate's, a bachelor's, or some type of career certificate outside of secondary education. And as you see, there's almost 12 million out of the 11.5 million out of the 11.6 million new jobs when a candidate will require that. If you look in the classifieds and any papers or any placements, you'll see a lot of the entry-level requirements are having that post-secondary credential, an associate's or bachelor's degree, or some type of credential. So 99% of that population is going to be served, and especially with the variation of the skills gap with employment, they need it now. So we're really having to rethink on the fly, how do we adapt to this new model or this new environment so our graduates can get sustainable, high-paying jobs that they could leverage, and not in the traditional fashion of a community college, but a more tailored academic approach servicing our student base or opportunity youth in general to provide those outcomes. So at the current rate, the U.S. will have 5 million jobs for workers with post-secondary credentials and training, but no workers to fill those jobs. Machinists, tool and die, welders, hard trades, healthcare positions. A lot of students in high school don't really get positioned in the manner of what are these occupational demands and how are we going to fill these. Employers are looking to colleges, folks like Penn Foster, to be able to provide that solution as we train over 1,600 corporations employees, but it's not an off-the-shelf program. It's a customized, tailored program specifically delivering on deficiencies or proficiencies and uniquenesses that differentiate employers from others. Now, of course, you always have a base program, but then you'll be able to adopt the nuances or the specifics or concentrations that specialize within a given industry to really meet our students where they are at our locations, but also to provide that tailored instruction that employers ultimately want. And you'll hear more about that as we go forward, specifically within the offerings. But again, you could have the high school component, but you would add the career pathways. For those of you who have a high school program such as Penn Foster or even a GED or HSE, you would be able to add in simply the career pathways within the elective portions of the high school to really position students to earn another credential, not just their diploma, but those of you who would go into like a career and technical track or continuing education specific to a cluster such as healthcare or construction or IT based on the Department of Labor's career pathway template. We have varying concentrations of specializations that you could add into the high school. In regards to the career certificates, think of it as a career lattice starting at high school, because everyone needs a high school diploma or an equivalency to even get that gainful employment. Without it, you have very limited prospects on employment, but also your earning power, earning potential is very limited. And then you wouldn't have that career development opportunity to become a manager without, again, starting with your high school diploma. And then it transitions specifically into college. If you needed an associate's degree or an undergrad certificate, how does that play? Well, the beauty of what someone like a Penn Foster does is that we build these career lattices as opposed to a career ladder, which is one direction. We branch them out, so you're always thinking about that next journey of academics, a lifetime learner type of a learning passport, if you would, where you could always stack on new credentials and move up that staircase or up that, divert off the ladder. But that's what really sets the tone, and that's pretty much the hallmark of our discussion today. And then again, we could dive in offline specifics to do assessments and analyses of our individual locations, but at a high level, diving into these stackable, portable post-secondary credentials, driving sustainable outcomes, promoting higher education and career readiness. So when graduates are ready to transition into the workforce, we know and we're comfortable that they were assessed appropriately. We know what skills to focus on with their deficiencies, ensuring that proficiency, and then ultimately greater employability and marketability, leading to higher wages, sustainable employment opportunities, as well as continued education and career development, which is always key, because learning doesn't stop with just having a high school diploma. Learning doesn't stop with just having a degree. You're always learning. We're always, quenching our thirst for learning and bringing on that development within ourselves to be better. But the key areas we want to think about in implementing pathways, you could say, yeah, that's great. We know these opportunities exist, but how do we make it real? How do we incorporate it into what we do today and make it seamless? And that's what having a partner like Penn Foster helps you do, is because we want to be that thought partner. we want to be able to provide these alternatives and make the most sense for your uniqueness, whether you're a Job Corps, a youth build, or any type of program in general. But we need to have that internal discussion and that diagnostic, gap analysis, if you would, to determine what that looks like today. What do you do today? And then again, moving over to then the product design of how can we make this make the most sense in how we deliver our environment today without, reinventing the wheel. But within the environment you have, how do we branch these off and make it make sense? And then what programs do we select and how are they delivered? And then how is that going to be supported? In some of these areas, you'll find that your questions are overlapping because they all play direct roles as a stepping stone or even a lattice effect going through making the decisions and implementation. And the beauty is you could always tweak this because it's a learning process to make it the best model possible. And it's like a living and breathing experience where it's not off the shelf, it's customized and could always be modified. But again, it all starts with that internal discussion. Where are we strong? What do we currently offer? Is it career and technical education? Do we even have career and technical education? Is it a career pathway? Are we looking to offer advanced placement courses? How do we leverage a network of Penn Foster resources or tools on a local level or a national level? And what is the goal? What's working? What's not working? And again, the keys are how do we support the students if we have finite resources and tools? And then again, the most important part, what does success look like? Because it really starts from there and better understanding what the key points are of your specific program and what you're trying to achieve, and then having the external discussions and diagnostics on what's available from your expertise as Penn Foster, working with colleges and universities, having our own college, the corporate partners, the training we do today, and what we hear from employers. That's where we really start tweaking it based on occupational demands, based on outcomes, based on reaching your specific goals and reshaping that innovation and opportunity for your specific program. But then diving into program design, what makes the most sense? How do we identify prerequisites for our students, making sure if they need remediation, we know they need remediation and we focus on the specifics, whether it be literacy or numeracy. What type of diagnostic tools are we leveraging to remediate students or identify their current literacy or numeracy or their strong points or weak points? Are we using the TABE, the GAIN, the cases, the different types of programs out there, or do you have your own specific, unique structure of creating assessment, similar to what we do at Penn Foster, having that homegrown reading and math tools and diagnostics that we incur or implement as part of our program to really focus on providing students with the skills to be successful, similar to, if you have a standard of algebra as your math, but the student is assessing at a third grade level. Of course, we do not expect them to go right into algebra. We want to work with them on getting them those skills with the end goal of being algebra or geometry, or general math or consumer math and so on. But we would provide recommendations based on an overall architect, or we could do it individually based on what pathway may best suit the student based on their outcomes. Again, because we don't believe in a one-size-fits-all model. Education should be individualized and unique to that individual within an environment that makes the most sense to that student to learn at their own pace and be able to leverage these different tools and resources to help them along through their academic experience, again, going up that career ladder or career lattice to reach someone's full potential. And then about how the program is going to work, a pedagogy, if you would have. Is it going to be instructor-led? Is it online? Is it hybrid? Being able to select the right approach. But again, that could be individualized as well based on where students fall into specific buckets, for lack of a better term, on where they need assistance. Because some folks are great in math, some are great in science, some are great with computers, but we should be able to provide them incentive to be able to work independently, but most importantly in that program design phase, really having instructors take ownership and accountability of that learning experience, and not that they have to be professionals within that given subject matter. That's what you would leverage on for Penn Foster. We have over 100 faculty who specialize in given topics, not only in secondary but post-secondary professionals in the field with a lot of life learning experience that they bring to the table to really shape not only the secondary but post-secondary experience and the employer experience. So kind of like when you were in college, or you would hope that that teacher had actual experience in the field that they're teaching to provide that substance, because that's the most important component. Academic theory is great, but real life experience and competency and skill mastery are the keys and the foundations, such as like more work-based learning, more externships, and have this integrated learning experience in smaller chunks as opposed to having a drawn-out process. But those are things you need to dive in specific, and that we would cover in depth to do that diagnostic based on the right program design, being we run our programs within a fully online setting, within a hybrid setting, or within a specific instructor-led setting based on the partnership model. And then very important too, what are the right selections for the program? Is it short-term stackable credentials? Is it a career boot camp, which would be more workforce power skill readiness? So that pivotal transition point, similar to like a WorkKeys or a SkillSoft or soft skills, but these are more specialized skill sets that employers are looking for based on ONET and Burning Glass data, which are key components of how the workforce is shaped by the Bureau of Labor and Statistics and the Department of Labor, to really have that visualization of what it means to be career ready. And then diving into, after these skills are attained, is it possible then, now that the students are prepared, we know they're prepared, we've assessed them, and we have the right platform, a competency-based learning platform to be delivered, similar to what we call internally here at Penn Foster our next stage learning platform, or a 2.0, the next level platform, where we're going to be delivering to our partners a new type of interactive platform that is more individualized and harnessed on competency-based learning, as opposed to seat hours or, you know, your general education thought process or delivery system, which really doesn't work in today's environment. A lot of our students that we come to Penn Foster or into our partners, such as Opportunity Youth, that standard system did not work for them. They need a more individualized, personalized experience, and having that platform with these program selections are going to be able to create that experience, even within the current environment that we offer for our students, but even more so moving forward with the new platform. But those are some of the key components, and to dive a little deeper on that specific offering, we have courses such as automotive repair that align to primary industry credentials. So you're not just talking, hey, it's nice to get a certificate from a school, which is a post-secondary accredited school like our career school and college are, but what are the industry requirements to getting those students to be competitive with traditional schools, or even with just industry focused or professionals in the field. And for example, our auto repair program is ASE certified, so they'll be able to get ASE certification. As part of our partnership, we actually give them the voucher to sit for that exam. Same thing with the pharmacy tech program as one of our healthcare offerings. but then we set up the externship as well for those students with the Walgreens, with the CVS. So again, it's broken out in academic theory, kind of like an apprenticeship, where you have the related technical instruction in short bursts, but then you bring in the hands-on and the work-based learning integrated within the learning experience throughout the program, or you could even do it at the end of the program based on how, what model makes the most sense. Going back again to the program design, we could do it either way, and so could you. And those are the topics we'll discuss. But having it really tailored to your uniqueness, or what are the in-demand occupations within your region, or what are the growing trends in an occupation. For example, we're going to be introducing a home health aid program, a personal care aid program, as new opportunities or pathways, as on top of our medical assisting, our coding and billing, and our other medical office type programs, as well as clinical or more focused areas where you're dealing more with patients and practices as opposed to administrative duties. But those are just some samples, along with plumbing, along with electrical, carpentry, the hard trades, the retail services, the hospitality services. These are all areas you could dive into, because at Penn Foster specifically, we have over 3,000 courses. We have over, in our career school, about 50 career-focused certificates and diploma programs, and then we also offer 28 degrees at the associate level, the undergrad certificate level, as well as the bachelor's level. But again, all palatable steps, taking it step by step, building on those credentials in the most reasonable and seamless possible manner possible, so it's easy to implement, easy to support, and you get the results you need in a way that's cost effective and fits within your means to train more folks and bring on these different types of training offerings. And we have partners who do it today, which we'll cover in our case studies, but then having access to our college to provide more substance. We have over 90 ACE approved courses, and there's over almost 2,000 universities and colleges that accept ACE credits. Anywhere across our degree programs that could be tied into a high school program as part of the electives, or as a separate program to earn these credentials outside of a high school as standalone courses. So you pretty much have the full capability to implement those as you see, and the implementation process, again, is very turnkey. And here's some further examples that we'll be sharing as well, not to dive into these too much, but to provide that structure of examples that you have access to, where you could add these portable credentials outside of what you currently offer today for your graduates. And the main step is the program administration and implementation process, and how you support that process for your students internally, and leveraging a partner like Penn Foster, where you could lean on us to gain that assistance, the tutoring, the assessing tools, the remediation, live webinars through various different mediums of communicating with the school, 24/7 access to a community. And also, if you have multiple locations, having your students be able to communicate and your facilitators being able to communicate across channels. So that's a great way to do that through our community. But setting the tone and setting a study planner and specifics for when a student comes on, when they're onboarded, to how do we monitor and track that in an automated process, but also in an on-demand process, and then again leveraging physical materials. But it's very straightforward to implement based on your specifications or how your program is delivered today, because many of our partners do things and they do them well within post-secondary vocational. It's how do we do more in a way that's not, again, reinventing the wheel, or that we could easily put in as part of this curriculum or expand on what we do today, so our graduates have the best opportunity to stack up with the competitive workforce, with the opportunities that exist, and to fulfill those job requirements that are growing with a degree and with these post-secondary credentials in a short-term where they yield those benefits and results. But a positive way to do that, to give you an example here within our Job Corps, is Grafton out of Massachusetts. And what they do specifically, as well as Adams as an operator who oversees a number of facilities that offer technical education, high school, and career and advanced training programs, is that they incorporate these as part of their high school program. So, you know, a really good opportunity. We have numbers of partners who implement this as part of it, but a really successful mapping, yielding great results, yielding post-secondary credentials, yielding graduates that are going to be successful and have what they need to be successful. And we could always add on more. And again, we'll share these results and these types of case studies with you. Miami-Dade College, how do we leverage colleges within our partners, where not only could you get a Penn Foster diploma, but you can get a Miami-Dade College diploma by leveraging Penn Foster courses in the same cost-effective manner. So when your students graduate and they go on to an employer for the SIT, having a Penn Foster credential, but they could also have, Miami-Dade's the largest college in the country, you know, so having a diploma from a recognized university such as a Miami-Dade or a Penn Foster will definitely speak volumes for your students, but again, delivered at your location in a setting that's comfortable and works with your specific uniqueness or your specific program. And then college offerings, being able to offer not only as part of a high school, but separate as an advanced academics that you control at your location, where students don't have to leave to go to a local college, where you have total control and oversight of that student's success, delivered in a manner that's very safe and ease of use for the students to navigate and achieve college credits. And college credentials are very real to gain in a short term, to put on their resume, to have those proficiencies, and such as an undergrad certificate where you would earn up to 30 college credits, anywhere, the average is 15 to 30 credits for that undergrad certificate, and that's going to get you in the door too, because then when you get a job, you could always leverage these credits to transfer to over these 2,000 schools as part of ACE to get an associate or a bachelor's degree, but really starting to shape the discussion about college. How do we get more of our graduates in college, or those skills that employers are looking for to further diversify our graduates and their marketability and skill sets to really position them for success, and college is a big factor of that. But what we'll do now is open it up for specific questions, or we could dive back and go over, as I mentioned, this is going to be provided in a recorded series and sent to all the participants of the webinar today. But we're also going to be having series of these web discussions focusing on, you know, career and technical education in general, focusing on college in general. We'll have these deep dive discussions and one-on-ones in a group setting or on a one-on-one basis at your facility or site, or over the phone or through web, to dive deeper, to learn more about your internal diagnostics, your internal programs, and doing that gap analysis based on our recommendations of how we could easily provide this. But implementation, again, is very straightforward. Many of you today who are on this call already leverage Penn Foster and do it very well, and you're familiar with the process, but it's taken to that next level and building on to that. So I appreciate your time, and I'm going to give it to Dan now. And
yeah, we just have a few questions coming in. So the first one we have here is, how much, if any, are the additional costs for this program for an existing partner? I'm not exactly sure which program she's referring to, so maybe you can touch on each.
Sure. Well, overall, I mean, the program's cost effective in a good range. If you do the high school concentrations to get the career certificates or credentials, it's normally $100 more than our just general high school program. So based on our partnership, we have varying tuitions, of course, but normally within a career program, the average tuition is anywhere between $500 to $700 for a standalone program. But if you take that as part of your high school, you'll already have half of it completed. But if you then wanted to go on and just do the standard curriculum for a career diploma or specific concentration, we have different tuition rates based on our partnership models, and we also have a master services agreement also based on outcomes, which we're going to be introducing to our partners so they can make it a lot easier in budget to leverage these different types of programs all at once. But the average tuition as a standalone, generally, as advertised on our website, it's under, I'd say, under $700 a program. But college is about $50 a credit. So if you take a 3-credit course, it's $150, which includes the support and the tools and resources. But again, that could be also up for discussion based on, are you offering boot camp? Are you offering a bundle of different offerings on location? Because we want to really move towards that outcome-based practice where you're just not paying on a per student basis. You may, we would set it up where you would have a monthly fee, a small monthly fee, say $100 per student, and then when the student completes the program is when a graduation premium would be assessed, but nothing more. So that's what we're moving to allow our partners to really maximize these different offerings to make it as easy as possible to do.
So we've got about 5 minutes left. There's a couple questions here that I want to get to. If a student has started taking, so there's about 4, so maybe we can try to hit on each just briefly. If a student has started taking college courses through Penn Foster and they're not ready to exit the Job Corps program, how easy is the transition for that student to continue with Penn Foster on their own?
Oh, real easy. That's a great question. I mean, what we're doing for Job Corps, and we'll make this known at a larger scale to all of our partners, we're creating a lifetime learner passport. So within certain partnerships, as I mentioned in regards to the tuition, our partners benefit from fixed tuition costs based on our partnership model. So what we'll do is extend that reduced rate to all graduates, whether you're in Job Corps, whether you're workforce board, whether you're a youth build, whether you're a college, you'll have that lifetime learner passport stay with you. So no matter where you are, if you're currently in a partner location or if you've graduated or want to continue, you'll be able to take that with you throughout your life, as well as partner staff and administration as well.
Will the students need FAFSA to participate in a college course?
No, the beauty of what we do is, our goal is to graduate debt-free, not be like me paying your student loans forever because you didn't know about a Penn Foster when you were in college, or these different options or resources out there, like many of us who went on to school where you're paying forever. But what we do is you graduate debt-free as Penn Foster student. Just to give you the scope of that, you could get your associate's degree, which is normally about 60 credits for under $3,000, including your books and materials. So again, we make it very affordable, but chunk it out by semester. And with the new type of model we're looking on tuition, you only have to have that fee when you graduate as opposed to throughout. So we'll talk more and communicate more about that, and we can have further discussions offline. But no, you don't need FAFSA. And the tuition that we offer is a lot less than local community colleges, and it offers textbooks and support and those different resources and tools on top of that. So very cost effective.
Last one here, and for everyone who's asked a question, we'll respond to you after the webinar. We'll get in touch with you, so don't worry about that. But one last question. How tailored are the programs for students with accommodation plans? What information would that information have to be disclosed?
Yeah, I mean, we'd like to know if a student has an IEP or if they're ELL, ESL, so we could take precautions. And really what that comes down to is making our partners aware of all the resources and tools we have. Because at the very essence, our program has built-in accommodations, so students could retest. We allow one retest. You need a 65 cumulative average to pass a course. if you fail a course, we could offer a makeup or an alternate course, because we're about learning as opposed to, hey, you failed the course, I'm sorry. You know, we have these built-in accommodations on time for testing. So based on those accommodations, we would like to know in advance so we could take precautionary steps to work with our partners and that they're fully aware of all these different specifications so students have the best opportunity, but also the plan is in order for those students who need added time or extra work, and we can make those available because it is customizable and tailored to individual learning styles.
So that's pretty much all the time we have for today. Again, we will, I see there's some more questions coming in. We will get back to you as soon as possible with those, just offline. So no worries there. And if you have any additional questions that may come up, please don't hesitate to get in touch with Eric. His email is there listed on the screen. But that's all. Yeah. Eric's got one more he wants to answer.
Well, yeah, and I was just going to say, again, I want to thank everybody for their time. You know, I know sometimes based on your schedules, you know, normally an academic day ends at 3:30, so that's why we record these series, but also in general to have one-on-one discussions. So again, if you have questions or like to dive in deeper, we're more than happy to make those accommodations at a time and day that meets your staff and your needs, or we could do an on-site visit to dive in as well. But just wanted to, again, thank you for your time. And this is a really important time, especially under WIOA. So having these capabilities for our programs and our partners and being able to leverage and lean on your partners to the fullest extent is always a good thing. You know, I always say take everything you can get, you know, from a partner so it works to your favor, and think of it as an added resource and an extension of what you do today, because as we know, resources are limited, but, you know, as we progress, it's just going to get a lot, you know, more competitive out there as these jobs become available, and we're looking forward to working with you to make that happen. So, again, thank you for your time in general. Did you want?
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining today. Just one last reminder, if you could take the 3-question survey at the end of the webinar, it's just going to pop up. We'd greatly appreciate it. Yeah, but with that, on behalf of Eric, the rest of the Penn Foster team, thanks for joining us today. Hope you have a nice day.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day.